Hello and welcome to another episode of TaylorAdamsSports. I'm Taylor and I am here with Adam Lovan. How are you?
I'm awesome. How are you, Taylor?
I'm good. Thanks for coming on. I'm excited.
I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Cool. Well, so for just a little pretext on Adam and I and how we know each other, Adam and I both went to Indiana and we met through Indiana football. So again, another person that has kind of gone on from Indiana football and done really great things. And I'm excited to have you kind of speak to it and your journey. And you kind of have an unconventional in and out of sports journey. So I'm excited for people to kind of hear that and how you got back into it and to elaborate on all of that. So I see this every time, but how I like to kind of kick these things off is you just talking a little bit about yourself and kind of where you started and where you are now. So
So I've played football since first grade, and so it's gone on since then. And then halfway through my sophomore year, I decided I was going to transfer to Indiana University, and I wanted to start coaching. I knew that's kind of what I wanted to do. So I transferred to IU, and I just started in the recruiting department and found a way to get on the field. Luckily, I met a great person in Mike DeBoard who let me tag along and took me under his wing to help me
great.
get on the field. Great person.
Mm-hmm.
So he helped me get on the field and start coaching and start learning. And then it's taken off from there, where then I graduated and thought, you know what, I'll just have a quote unquote normal life and do business. And that wasn't enough fun for me. So now I'm back. And so I'm at Virginia Military Institute helping out with wide receivers out there, and having a blast.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I'm kind of backtracking to Indiana football. So there's a lot of people that want to get into coaching and not just for football, but any sport. And a lot of them are former athletes or they were always around sports growing up. So can you kind of outline what you did, like what your position technically was at IU and what some of your day-to-day looked like? Because I've talked about what I did as a recruiting assistant, but it's very different from the coaching side of a football department.
Yeah, so starting out, like I said, I was a recruiting assistant with you. And so I would get there as soon as the doors unlocked. We didn't have key
Just
cards. I was standing at the door waiting for the door to unlock. And so I'd go in, I'd be there early, and I would literally just leave to go to class, and then I'd be right back. Like that was my day until everybody was gone, and I would stay there a little bit after, and the goal was just be there all the time, always working.
and
Um,
you obviously playing football, you had football knowledge, you knew what you were talking about, you knew the game, but did you have any coaching experience prior to starting with Indiana?
yeah, no, I hadn't really coached. My dad was a coach. He'd been a coach my entire life, so I've been around coaching. I
Right.
understood kind of how it worked. Obviously, it was a high school level, not a college level, so it's a little
Sure.
bit different. A lot of hours still, but it's just completely different whenever you have a full-time job and then you go coach. So whereas college football, that is your job. So
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah, it was a lot of fun just to learn the process of, game planning. I've never been a part of game planning
Right.
as an athlete. You don't learn that. I mean, you're given the game plan,
Sure.
whereas you see the process that goes into it. So it's really neat.
Yeah. So what would your day-to-day look like? Maybe detail a day just in the offices during the week, and then what a game day looks like for you.
Yeah, so during the week, our really long days are Sunday right after the game, and then through about Tuesday or Wednesday, those are our long days. So a long day to me is like getting in at 5:30, a little bit before 6 a.m., and then you're there all day. I mean, you're eating 3 meals a day in your office or at the cafeteria, and then we would leave around. If we had an early night, it would be 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. Sometimes midnight, sometimes later. So it's a long grind
Right.
that people behind the scenes don't see. Fans don't know.
Coaching doesn't stop.
No, it never stops. And then like game day, so if we had like a noon kick, we would have, 7 a.m. breakfast. walkthroughs. We would have, meetings, and then everybody buses to the stadium, and then you're getting ready. And whenever we're getting ready, I mean, we're still running all over the place because we've got recruits there. We've got we've got to get all our stuff ready. So like my first year, I was up in the press box, so everything's got to be in the press box, set out, ready to go. Luckily, we've got great people who work with us who, put out the headsets and test those, so we don't have to worry too much about those. And equipment wise, great equipment managers who took care of everything. But it's still running. Game day is running, and that's when it gets fun. Whenever the ball meets the foot for kickoff, that's when the fun starts. So.
Right. And so you're on the field, you're running around doing all this. What's your role on game day? Where are you? What are you doing? What's the purpose of your role?
Yeah, so my first year, I was up in the press box and I charted all of our plays and took care. I kind of watched some for the defense as well. Kind of did a little bit of statistics, analytics stuff. My second year, I actually signaled in plays at Indiana University. And then this year, I'm going to be back in the press box and I will, again, do some analytics and charting and things like that at Virginia Military Institute.
And you did a lot of film watching. I mean, I remember watching you and Billy sit in the offices, you had your sunflower seeds and all the snacks. I feel like you guys didn't stop watching film. So what were some things that you did to get better at watching film? How much time do you say that you'd spend kind of learning that? Because it is studying. Like,
Yeah.
you have to get better at it, because I feel like that's how you can kind of determine a good player from a bad player.
Yeah, well, if you're not growing your own mind, then you're falling behind because someone else is. So just in recruiting, I could spend a whole day just watching film on high school players because there's so many great athletes out there that you're always evaluating. And to find someone that just has that one step ahead of someone else can be the difference later on in 3 years whenever they're starting. And then the other thing is, like, we would just watch like other teams. We would watch NFL teams and get good ideas from them because obviously, everything's stolen in college football. Everything's stolen from somebody else. So if you can get one little nuance or thing from someone else, it could help you spring something loose and that you didn't see before. So
right. So not only are you watching high school players and evaluating their actual craft and their skill sets, but you're watching other teams for the plays and the logistics of the actual game. So, you're wearing a lot of different hats when you're going into coaching. So do you think is the hardest part or the biggest area for growth that you went through when you were with IU?
I think I was learning the process of putting together a game plan, putting together ideas. Everybody's got good ideas. Everybody brought something to the table. And then we would all sit there and say, okay, is this what's going to help us win the game?
Right.
And then, you kind of scratch things off. But seeing it all, like, it starts so big. And then on Saturday, it's like, it gets small. And that's what we got,
Right.
And so it's really neat seeing that process because like I said, as an athlete, I never saw that.
Mm-hmm.
I just saw, here's your game plan. Here's what we're going to run this week. And
right.
to see it come together and see everybody's ideas bouncing off of each other is really, really neat.
Yeah, absolutely. And then during practices, what are some of the things that you do to get better? Because that's when you're in practice, that's a coach's home base, right? Like that's when they're putting in the work, they're executing these plays that they're coming up with, and they're preparing for that next game. So what were some of the things that you did during practice that helped you, or that the coaches maybe gave you the responsibility of to help you grow and kind of learn in a coach's position?
Yeah, so as a student there, like I said, I was helping coach, and so I'd never done that before. And maybe taking part of a drill or taking a couple kids from that drill and helping them get better with just a small thing helped me out a lot. Gave me a lot of confidence because not knowing. So I played quarterback and coaching wide receivers. I was learning all. Everything was just a new learning day. And so whenever you start to pick it up and then, someone has the faith in you to say, hey, go get them right. It makes you feel good about yourself. So doing that. And then just the other thing is like your eyes, understanding like what to watch,
right.
when to watch it. That's really key. I found that out, as not a player, but as a coach, is what to watch, how to watch it, and when to watch.
Sure. That's something I'm definitely not skilled in. But I think too, you did a really good job of putting in those hours. Like you said, you're there 5:30 a.m. and sometimes you're there till past midnight. And when I'm at football games or I'm watching sports with friends, a lot of people are like, they should have done this, or I could be a coach. They need to fire this guy. They say all these things, but really the time and the effort that goes into a position like that, especially when you aren't getting paid and you're a student and you have other responsibilities, it's going to go a long way. And that's why you do have so many good relationships with these coaches that want to help you and that do kind of make you their right-hand man, right? Because you're putting in those hours and you're allowing them to trust you by showing that you're putting in that effort. You have the credibility, you're willing to learn, and you're coachable, for lack of better terms.
Yeah, the other thing is like college football is it's such a tough market to get
Right.
into. I mean, it's so competitive. Everybody wants all the high school not all, but a lot of high school coaches want to be college coaches. A lot of college coaches want to move up in the college coaching world, and it's really, really competitive. And so being there and being around and just you got to put in your time. That's what I'm going to here. Is you just have to put in your time, and sometimes, you're not getting paid. Sometimes but you just have to put in that time because eventually it'll pay off for you.
There's a quote, and I can't think of who said it, but it's like, when you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe, that's when you'll hit it, or it's something like that. But it's true, especially in coaching. I mean, even as a recruiting assistant, I was working a lot of hours, but it was nothing compared to what student coaches and coaches in general have to go through. It really is a career, and it's a good example of that because you just have to always be there, be there. And so I think that's one thing to know for anyone looking to get into this industry or into coaching. It's not a walk in the park, right? Like, there's a lot of unpaid hours. There's a lot of tedious things I'm sure you've had to do. It's not just, all right, go out on the field, call some plays, win the championship, and you're smooth sailing. Like, there's a lot that goes into it. And I think that needs to be just recognized, because that's how you're going to separate the people that really want it from the people who are just kind of going through the motions, right?
My first year, my thought process was be seen and don't get in the way. You know what I mean? Like, because not knowing the coaching world really, but you've seen it, right? You just don't want to be the guy who's in the way. You never
want to be humbled a little bit, right? Like, you need to, again, be coachable. Like, you got to sit there and be like, I'm going to listen, I'm going to learn, and that's how I'm going to get better.
That's right. And listen, if you've got a great idea, I was with some great coaches who had no problem listening, and when I was wrong, correcting me.
Sure.
And when I was right, saying, you know what, that's a good idea. But having people around like I was around was just incredible, because they really taught me, as opposed to, hey, just here, help out, do this.
I mean, I can think of coaches there that were aides to me, and I didn't even necessarily want to go into coaching. I was on the recruiting side, and I still, like, Brandon Shelby was great, Noah Joseph, great, and countless others, but they were just so willing to help. And when you have a staff like that, and Coach Allen is just, I mean, I don't even have words, because he's just such a well-rounded individual and coach and person, that he makes it exciting to learn, and he's willing to help, and he wants everyone on his staff to feel included and to get better, which is hard to find sometimes.
Yeah, he does. And I don't know if you know this story, but so when I thought I wanted to start coaching, I actually met Coach Allen. So he and my mom went to high school together. So I had a little connection there.
Okay.
And so I was calling him saying, during the football season, my sophomore year, saying, Coach, I want to transfer. I want to start coaching. And he was the defensive coordinator at the time. He's like, I can't promise you anything. And so I just kind of took a leap. And then he got me into recruiting, and that's kind of where it took off.
Right.
And I'm so grateful to him forever for that.
Yeah, he's amazing. He's definitely changed my life. I know at the football banquet, it was my senior year. I think it was the end of the 2017 season. And I just remember giving him a hug and crying, because I was like, you really changed, like, Indiana football really changed my life. And he was a huge part of that. So when you have good coaches around you to help you grow, it makes all the difference. And it's just a great program to work for. So I think that's great. And, you know, again, you put your heart and soul into that program. So if you kind of want to walk us through the change, right? Like you.
Yeah, so I got there as soon as Coach Allen got the head coaching job.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't there with Coach Wilson, but when Coach Allen came in, he was very big about everyone's together. Everyone's in on the same page.
LEO was born.
LEO, love each other. And so he embodies it perfectly. It's not a slogan, it's not a motto, it's who he is. And so to have somebody bring everyone together like that, which at my old school I felt like it was there, but I knew it was there at IU. And so to watch them grow and the success that's coming along with it, and I think it's amazing. I think it's incredible, and I think it's well deserved because those guys are great coaches and great people. That's the big thing. Great people.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can't speak enough again how great the internship programs there and the ability to get hands-on experiences. So you did that from what, 2016 or 2015?
I did it the beginning of 2017, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, beginning of 2017 until I graduated in 19. So 2.5 years.
Yeah.
Is what I did it about 2.5 years.
So then you graduated and you got, you know, a normal
quote unquote normal job. Yeah.
So what made you, what was like the turning point where you're like, you know what, no, I need to get back into coaching. This is what I want to do.
I had a coach tell me that coaching is like a drug. College football is like a drug, and once you get a touch of it, you can't go away from it. And it's true. It's just so because seeing everybody come together, seeing everybody towards a common goal, and then just the energy everyone has every day. You don't have a choice. You have to have energy. Mm-hmm. And so the job that I was doing was fine. It was good. But to be around people who have the same goal as you day in and day out and want to succeed as bad as you do is really encouraging to yourself, knowing I'm doing something to achieve a goal and everyone else around me is on the same page.
Yeah.
It's really neat.
Absolutely. So now what? Tell us where you're at, kind of your position, what you do now. I know it's a little bit different again regarding the circumstances going on in the world right now, but
it is. It's really weird. So I'm out at Virginia Military Institute, better known as VMI, with Billy Kosh, Coach Billy Kosh. He's the new offensive coordinator out there. He was at Indiana University with myself and a couple other guys who are out there as well now. And so he offered me the opportunity to come out there and help him. And I said, all right, let's do it.
Yeah.
So I moved out there for about a month and a half during this whole coronavirus thing. And it's crazy. So I haven't even met the players because, I've met them over Skype meetings and things like that, but we haven't even seen each other. And so it's really different because we would have went through spring ball. We would have had workouts. But now I'm back in Indiana, and then I'm going to head out to VMI in about a month. And so I'll be out there until who knows when. So,
yeah, right. Then we see
as you know, college football coaching, you're there and gone, and who knows how long. It could be a year, it could be 4 years, it could be 6 months.
Right.
So
that's so exciting. I think I'm excited. I love college football. I'm excited. I love watching the players, not only play at the teams and the schools that they're at, but I love seeing the progression from high school to college to the NFL for some of them. I think that's probably one of the coolest things to see. Nick Westbrook was an absolute stud at IU, and to see him get signed by the Titans is really exciting. And we've got, IU has some great players in the league right now. So that's probably exciting for you too, because you're not only watching high school players, but then you're getting them in the school and then seeing some of them go off to the league, which has got to be pretty rewarding.
Yeah. Watching players develop is one of my favorite things, watching them come out, watching just their high school tape to where they're at now. and then what they can achieve, and helping them achieve that, not only as a player but as a human being
Right.
and an individual, is amazing. And having a part in their life to help them do that is what it's all about. I mean, that's what's fun.
Right.
Develop players and build men of character is
Right.
incredible.
All around the game of football, which doesn't get any.
All around something that we love.
So you're back in football. I think it's great that you're with another program because you get to kind of see how things are done differently and get that diversity.
Yeah.
Between coaching staffs, and Billy obviously, which is great, and can kind of work off each other and bounce ideas off each other. But getting that new perspective from another program, I think will be really great as well, just to kind of build your coaching skill set and whatnot.
Yeah, being around a lot of smart people at VMI is very helpful. The wide receiver coach has been at Tennessee. He's been at Vanderbilt. We've had players, our running back coach played at IU. Our O-line coach played at North Carolina. I mean, we've got guys who have been some incredible places and bring loads of knowledge, and to learn from them daily is incredible.
Yeah. So hopefully, we're rooting for a season with fans. We're rooting for full season like it would be any other year. But for you, we've got some questions that people want answered, and then we've got some questions just about kind of your experience. So we can start there. What are some of the coolest things that you've gotten to do? Because I know with IU football, I got to, go to the Pinstripe Bowl and get taken there for a week, and then get to be on the field for games. And there's some just really cool aspects to working in the internal side of a football program that you don't necessarily get to see or know that you would get to do. So for you, what's like one or two highlights in your career so far that have been like, jaw dropping?
Yeah. So I grew up a Michigan fan, so going to the Big House was awesome for me. Being on the field for that. Traveling is a lot of fun. I love to travel. So seeing new college campuses, seeing other stadiums, seeing places that I probably wouldn't have gone to otherwise.
Yeah.
And then also just seeing the behind the scenes of a stadium. Like, because when fans walk in, they see the concession stand, they go to see their seat, things like that. But like, you're underneath, you're in the tunnels, you're back in the locker rooms. Like, it's really cool just to see and like to think about the people that have come through there prior.
Yeah.
Like, and all the great teams that have played, been in that locker room, or great players that are now possibly Hall of Famers in the NFL. Right. I mean, it's incredible to be in those areas. And then just walking into a stadium of 100,000 people is.
I was just going to say, you gave me the chills, because I'll never forget walking onto the football field for my first game day at IU, and the sound on the field versus in the stands. It's night and day different. And I just remember standing there, and I just kind of took it in for a second, right? Like, you like close your eyes and you kind of just, I can't even describe it, because it was one of those just euphoric moments where you don't even know what to say. It's just the most incredible feeling, and seeing everything, you're like, I just get it. Like, I get why these players are hyped up. I get why they love doing what they do on top of the game, but the fans and just the atmosphere is second to none. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Walking into Ohio State, walking into Michigan, walking into Penn State, the three largest in the country, and you get to be a part of it is incredible.
I know. I'm trying to hit some more stadiums this year. Try to hit an SEC school.
Yes.
ACC, all that. So I definitely want to make my rounds on top of all the NFL stadiums. So, but yeah, there's nothing quite like walking into a stadium with that many people, especially when you're on the field and you're a part of that team and you're about to go out there and play.
It can't be matched.
No, not at all. So, do you have a favorite moment ever? Like, you just go back to and you're like, that's it. Like, that's what I'm going to remember the rest of my life.
It wasn't a good one, but it was incredible. So we were at Penn State my first year, and Saquon Barkley was returning the kickoff, and he returned the opening kickoff, and like, he was running from the non-student section to the student section. Mm-hmm. and I was up in the press box, and he's at like the 20-yard line going in, and I'm just like the where the press box is very, very close. Like you feel like you could reach out and touch the students, and he's at the 20-yard line, and I can see people being tossed in the air like as he's running, and it was not a good feeling, but it was like, wow, like
people are dedicated to this.
These people are all in.
Right.
Like, they care so much about their football, and I think that's what's so cool is like it brings everyone together. Like it doesn't matter if when you're in that stadium and you're wearing, cream and crimson or whatever colors you're a part of, you're all in it together. You're all in it together.
I can't. It makes me want. I'm like ready for football season, and it's June.
I know. I'm ready to go.
You're ready to go out there and play.
Get my ankles taped.
So we do have a couple of questions that were sent in for you. So let me pull these up really quick because people were very interested, and they need some advice from you. So, first question is, see, if a former athlete wants to make the switch into coaching, what should they do first?
The best thing, in my opinion, to do is get as close as possible. So, like with me, it was recruiting. So, and obviously, I didn't make any money. I didn't do anything like that. And that's kind of how you show, like, I want to be a part of this for real. Like, I really want to do this, and putting in that time, and then, like we talked about, just grinding. Like, you just got to grind. Because people will notice. People take notice of it. So if you're a former athlete, showing that you have knowledge of, you don't have to have all the answers, but showing that you're competent in your field and understanding and willing to put in time. If you're willing to put in time, you can be taught.
Right.
You know
time
what I mean?
is valuable. So if you're willing to sacrifice that, then it's not an issue. And I would also recommend for any athletes, go back to your coaches. Go back to high school coaches or your college if you played in college and say, hey, I want to get into this. This is something I really want to learn more about. What can I do? How can I get involved?
100%. How can I help? That's it. How can I help you get what you need to get done? And reach out to those contacts. Though, you believe it or not, your high school coaches and your college coaches know more coaches than you can believe.
Right.
And I'm sure they're willing to help you find something. Like I said, it might not pay much. It might not be, the golden ticket, but that's your foot in the door.
Yeah. I would also say this is more non-traditional because usually you go to this when you are in coaching or you're an intern or a GA, but I would recommend going to the football coaches convention. It's year, look into that. Even if you don't have any experience yet, it's a good way to meet people. And a lot of these either recruiting coaches or position coaches, if you just go up and you strike a conversation with them at these conventions, you say, I want to get involved, I'll work for free, and I'll be there as many hours as you need me to do and do whatever you need me to do. You don't know what kind of doors that can open. So I would also say look into that. That's once a year. That's really great to go to if you're looking to meet people and kind of just hear people out.
Yeah, convention's a little crazy. It's very packed. It's crowded. Yeah. It's different. I went to my first one this year and it's completely different, but it's a good place to meet new people. It definitely is that.
Yeah. Okay, so the next question is, what do you foresee for the future of women coaching male teams?
Yeah, so women coaching in male teams, men's basketball, football, men's soccer, anything like that, go for it. Do it. There's no reason not to. Listen, it's not, I don't care I don't care who you are. If you can help us and you can lead people to follow you and get the job done, I'm all for it. If you're there and you can get it done, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
Do it.
Women power. We're coming back. We're making strides in the sport industry. I say it all the time, but I really I am just amazed at some of the things that women are doing in sports and how much respect that they're given by, their male colleagues and people that are in those positions to hire them. I think we're making really good strides.
I mean, in the NFL, there's a couple already who are doing it, and you're talking about the top of the top there.
Right.
I think there's a couple in college football now.
Yep.
And so I think it's incredible, and just keep doing it. I think
Yep.
it's awesome. If you can do it, do it.
Mm-hmm.
You can do it, do it.
If you could do it, do it. You heard it here.
I love
That's going to be said in an SB speech one day.
it.
Okay, another one is, let me pull this up. What is the hardest part about coaching?
Ooh, I guess it depends who you are. Like, if you don't like to work long hours, it's long hours. Uh, if you don't like moving because you want to live in one spot, I'm gonna say it's probably not for you. Other things are just, time management is very important. Obviously, with working these long hours, you think, oh, you got all the time in the world to get stuff done, but those hours are packed. You're constantly on the move, and so time management is crucial. Um, but I don't know if because it's so fun to me, I don't
Yeah,
know that I can say it's hard. You know what I mean? When you love something and you've been doing it for so long, it just is what it is now, and it's just fun.
I think one thing to note is that coaching is a marathon, it's not a sprint, right? Like it's not
Yeah.
like a math problem where you get it and that's that. You're always growing. That doesn't stop. And so you can't expect to get into this industry 6 months go by and you're good to go. You're getting a head coaching job at Clemson.
Yeah,
It's not
it's
realistic.
it's a marathon for sure, and understanding that it's a grind and it's a process, and that it's not like most jobs where you put in 10 years or so, or you put in 5 years you get a promotion, you put in 10 years you get another promotion. It's not like that. Like, it's like a river. It's always changing and flowing,
Yeah.
and so
Yeah, I think the patience is a big component of it. And then the professionalism. Everyone knows everyone in college football.
yeah.
Everyone knows everyone in the league for professional football. Everybody knows everyone in high school football and D1 and D2. Everyone knows everyone when it comes to football.
Yes.
And you're going to work with a lot of different people, a lot of different coaches, a lot of different execs, a lot of different people in recruiting, and a
Mhm.
lot of administrative people. And so you need to keep your professionalism
Definitely.
and your biasness needs to be cut. You need to just stay kind of level headed. And when you're representing the team that you're with, that's what you do. And if you move on to another team, that becomes, your holy grail and that's who you represent.
That,
And
oh, definitely.
because you never know who you're going to run into and you don't want to burn any bridges that could stop you from getting a job or stop you from being able to move forward in your career.
And working with different personalities. I know that goes with any job. It doesn't matter what you're doing. You're going to work with different personalities all the time, and understanding, how to handle people, how to talk to people and have relationships with people, and understand where they're coming from and what they're saying, and really take it in and think about things before you say them or do them. But that's any professional. It doesn't matter what profession you're in. But
Yeah, absolutely. And the last question is, what are some resources you would recommend for anyone looking to get into this industry to kind of get a head start on or learn a little bit more about it?
yeah, so as a student, like any sort of internship you can do, any sort of tag along you can do, even if it's for a day, for a week. I know. So when I was still at Wabash, well, we were on fall break, and IU, or maybe it was Thanksgiving break. Yeah, we were done before IU was in
Right.
Division 3. We're done before Division 1, and so I think it was Thanksgiving break, and so I went and I asked Coach Allen if I could just sit in meetings, if I could just sit and listen, take notes, come to practice and learn, and he was willing to let me tag along for a couple days, and so that was really the first taste of coaching I got, and it would really open my eyes to this is a lot of fun and this
Yeah.
is what I want to do. And so if you know a coach that's willing to let you tag along for a day or two, it's a
Right.
lot of information that can help you out.
Yeah, and not to mention we've been talking about a lot of D1 schools and universities, but D1, D2, I mean, I worked for a D3 school in my hometown for a few months and got experience, and D1, D2 high school are not to be uh, diminished by any means, because that is amazing experience, and sometimes even more experience because it is such a small program. You get more hands-on and more responsibility given to you.
I was just about to say, you're going to wear more hats in those scenarios, which is an awesome thing to be able to take with you down the road and to learn from. So don't shy away from, quote unquote, the small schools.
Right.
Go learn everywhere. Every place has something new to offer and something new to learn from. And so don't ever think you're too big to go, learn from the equipment manager at a Division III school. Or
Same thing goes for players. I mean, think about Garoppolo, Eastern Illinois.
that's what I'm saying. Like, people think like you've got to be Power 5 or nothing, but that's not how it works.
Right.
You can go anywhere and learn anything from anybody. People are full of knowledge, and I bet those coaches have been more places than you can imagine, and could possibly have been at bigger schools, or could have been at a different school and brought something new from there. So don't try to get locked in on a certain level, because all of them have some amazing experiences and some amazing knowledge to give you.
Absolutely. Well, that's all the questions we have. So kind of to end this thing, I'll ask you, because I don't even think I've asked you this. What's your end goal? Where do you want to be in 10 years?
Oh, 10 years is different for college football as opposed to normal jobs.
It's kind of a good question.
The end goal is to be a head coach somewhere. I would love to be a head coach. But, just the steps right now are, do a great job at Virginia Military Institute, win a lot of games, and watch the Keydets bring home a SoCon championship. That's the goal right now.
That's the goal. That's great. That's I see you guys doing that. I know, between you and Billy and the rest of the staff, you guys are going to be successful and win a lot of games. So I got to make a trip out there.
Yes,
cool. Because working in sports, you never actually get to go travel and see these games and see everyone that you know in sports. So I'm excited to be able to do that now, and cheers for you guys. So I'm excited, but don't want to take up too much of your time. We'll end it there. But if you have any questions, I'm going to link Adam's profile in the description, so you can go shoot him a couple notes. I'm sure he'd be happy to help anyone that is curious about getting into it, or anything else that might come up when listening to this podcast. So I'll put that link in the description. And thanks so much for being on this. I appreciate you.
Thanks, Taylor. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll connect here soon again. Thanks everyone for listening, and we'll see you next week.